Let's talk about how you assist the police. Let's delve into that, because that's pretty cool.
That's what the last 40 pages of my book was about.
Okay.
Okay, starting with that. Another one. I will tell you right now, and I still make fun of myself, and every time I sit with, okay, we'll get to that part, but I was petrified when I got the first call from a detective. I looked at the phone, I knew the phone number, and I'm like, why does that sound so familiar? I'm like, nope, voicemail. And I didn't answer. Listen to the voicemail, happened to be a detective. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I like freaked out for like an hour. I'm like, because I was absolutely sure they were just trying to get crazies off the street. And I'm like, they don't need me to work on some unsolved murder. They just heard that I'm nuts, and they're going to protect the town from people like me. And I was adamant that's what this was about.
They wanted to come by and see if your foil hat was on or not.
Yeah,
right?
And padded room straitjacket. I knew that's what this was all about. And I was like, I was almost in tears. I have a fraidy cat really bad, okay? I that's why I do karate, okay?
And I would think you see dead people, you wouldn't be afraid of anything, but...
Balloons, E.T., remember?
Balloons and E.T. Yeah, E.T., yes. That one, yeah. I got a friend who's a psychiatrist. We'll have you talk to him about that one.
As long as I don't have to, he doesn't show me blotted pictures of E.T., I will speak to them. It totally freaks me out.
So you returned the call finally?
But I returned the call,
okay.
And I sat with two different, detective and a lieutenant, I believe. And we talked about... an unsolved murder that had gone on around here before I was born. So, and I went crazy on this for over 2 hours. And there they are, they're trying to be very professional, interview, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like freaking out the whole time, but I'm just going. I'm like, here we go, you want it, this is what's going on. And I'm watching them, and their stone faces stayed there. And then it's like, the jaw's dropping and dropping, and they're staring at each other, and they're looking back and forth, and after that, I wouldn't even get back into the cruiser for him to drive me home. It was snowing like you wouldn't believe, and he opened the door, and I just said, he goes, are you getting in? I'm like, you're taking me home, right? It's a true story. I'm like, my mom lives right down the hill. I'll walk, because I thought he was going to take me away.
Because you knew so many details.
Because I knew too many details.
It's almost like you did it.
That's it. That's exactly it. Okay, and that creeped me out just as much.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I doing this? And then there were times that I would actually go to the murder scene, and I would sit there, and what would happen is it would be like I was watching a movie first. Okay, I'd get into it, and then all of a sudden, I was starring in the movie. So I'm being stabbed, I'm being raped, my body's being pulled out of a car, I'm watching somebody else have the same thing going on with them that's in the car with me, and it's hugely intense. Then I go home and I have to make dinner for my kids. I'm like, let me put my body back together.
Yeah. Well, now let me ask you this, because again, let's go into Hollywood and all of its evilness.
Yes.
Are you feeling the knife plunging into your chest the way Hollywood perceives people like yourself to be? Or is it just you feel like a pressure? Explain that.
Exactly.
How do you feel it?
When I am doing this, I am not, my head's not spinning around. I'm not throwing up pea soup. You know what I mean? My voice isn't changing.
I was going to ask you to do that before we left.
I might crab walk up the stairs.
Okay.
But that's
we'll go
just
with
for
that.
fun. Okay. No, I am not in excruciating pain.
Okay.
I've seen the shows where all of a sudden someone's doing this and they have blood coming out of their hands, or they're like, oh,
yeah.
No. It's more, the only way I can explain it is when you have a wipeout and you remember what it felt like.
Okay.
All right, oh man, I took you down in karate. Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
Something like that. But you didn't, remembering, you don't have that physical pain again. Mm-hmm. But you knew what it felt like. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because it's not No, there is no ghost sitting there,
Yeah.
you know, and you're
Yeah.
like all dramatic about it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I can't talk for anybody else, but that's not how it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I get it's very intense because you're feeling these things, but then you're feeling the intensity of the victim. You're feeling the intensity of the person who did it because you're picking up on emotion.
Right.
You know, and how
Which
they
is
felt.
still there because that's one of the big things with hauntings is that
That's right.
it's leftover residual energy.
I'm glad you said that because not every single place is haunted by a ghost. Okay, like I said, I grew up in a house that's over 300 years old. The house is not haunted yet. There's still I will not go back in the back field because I've seen things out there, and there's still to this day grown woman will not go into certain rooms in my parents' house because the energy is intense.
Okay.
There's a difference between residual energy and an actual person. I do house investigations. Okay? Yeah, sometimes there's people. Other times it's just energy. There's energy everywhere. It just can pool up in different places and be more intense. You know, but that's one thing that drives me crazy.
Finishing up with the police side of this, so have you ever helped them
With arrests?
solve murders?
Yep.
Really?
I
Or-
haven't had the arrest for a murder
Okay.
yet. Well, indirectly I have.
Okay.
That's right. Indirectly I have. A lot of times I'm kept very low key, okay, because this is police stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just normal everyday person that's not supposed to know stuff. You know what I mean? So there are times that I actually sit down with a detective and I give them what I get, but they also have to be careful because there are things that even a psychic isn't supposed to know. You know? So the older murders are very hard. I mean, we're talking about something that happened 40 years ago. You know? So will those ever be solved? Maybe, maybe not. The logical side of me says, good luck, you know. But have I helped? I have helped with solving other murders. I've helped find bodies.
Wow.
I helped, and it's not only in this state. I mean, I don't have to be there, you know, like that the medium, you know, where she goes with the police.
Yeah.
If I'm going somewhere with the police, it's most of the time after hours. You know, it's not like, you know, oh, let's call Heather because we're on our way to a murder.
Yeah. Right.
It's not going to be like that.
Right.
You know, it's more like, hey, get to work. We got this going on here.
Yeah.
And I'll bang out the blah, 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 blah. So I don't get the recognition, you know, but I have, actually not too long ago, have helped within the past couple of years. There's been 2 murders that I've helped with. I helped with an arson out in Ohio. Just by, I don't have to be there. You do it on the phone. It's not, you know.
It's a superpower. You don't need to be there.
Superpower. That's right. I can be sitting there in my pajamas, you know, or having a glass of wine in my tub, being like, all right, this is what's going on. Which it is. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
But those, yeah, I've done those. I've helped find the dogs that have run away. You know, that kind of. I'm really good at finding things.
Wow.
So it's and I can be off. I'm not God. I don't know everything, you know. But
So when you were a little kid, you play hide and seek. You must have been the biggest pain in the ass to play with because you knew where everybody was.
I wish, but no. Christmas is fun for me. I will say.
Really?
Oh yeah, I will. I mean, I don't like. I'm horrible about that kind of stuff, and I
Yeah.
will tune in to find out my presents.